Good morning, everybody, and how is everybody doing? And welcome back to the channel. You know, as I said yesterday, I am going to be home probably all week long, doing a little bit of sick time and some vacation combined together, just so I don't use all my sick time up. I did tear my calf muscle Sunday pushing my mower back into the garage. So today I need to get that tore apart and see what parts I need to get to try and put it back together. You know, I said yesterday that them pumps are really expensive, so I'm hoping that I can just do a rebuild on that pump and see if I can't get that taken care of. What the issue I'm having is on the right side pump. This is my right side. As you sit on your mower, this side would be right side, and then this side over here would be left side. So it goes corresponding on how you can't talk today, on how you sit on your mower as far as right and left. So, you know, this being my left side, this being my right side, and I can show you once we roll underneath there. This is my right side pump. This is what is leaking that I found out when I brought it back in here in the garage. So to get this disassembled, you need to take this return line off and this feed line off. I believe these are the returns. This line here, these tee together, and this, I'm not certain on how these are, but these tee together and go up to the cooler and then come back down to your tank. And the tank has two filters on it, and it is on the bottom. The two filters are on the bottom side. So I don't know. I would say, since this is a braided line, this is going to be my feed, and these are going to be my returns. I'm not real certain. It goes up and gets cooled after going through the pump. I guess that makes sense now that I look at it. You know, on these mowers, I you know, I know enough about them to do a lot of the work myself, but there is some things that I cannot do myself, so I do take it down to, you know, my local dealer, which is just 2 blocks down the road, and have him take care of that stuff. But if I can do it myself and save myself $65 an hour labor, I think that's what it is now, you betcha I'm gonna do that. So the way I see it, and you know, if there are any of you guys out there know more than me and want to comment and let me know, the way I see it, this is going to be my feed. These are going to be my returns. Comes out of your pump after heating up and getting used, up through the cooler, back through, and then into your return tank right here to go through the whole cycle again. So anyway, stop rambling. Basically, you got to take this line off, and then these 2 lines off here. These 2 lines here are under pressure to go towards your wheel motor, which is there and right there. Those are your wheel motors, and you have one of those on each side. So to get this apart, like I said, you got to take those off. There's 2 bolts that hold it on, one there and then one up front. And then also you got to take your belt off the bottom and pulley, sorry. So I'll grab my creeper, I'll roll it under there and show you why I believe it's the right side. So right there, that's the right side drive pulley. If you look over right there, and if you look real close, I don't know how well you can see, but you can see how all the oil is dripping off of that pulley, and it's kind of centrally not centrally located, but located pretty much. You know, all the oil has been slung on that side. If you look at the left side pulley right up there, there is not much oil on it at all. So that kind of gives me an indication that, you know, my leak is coming out of that pump right there. So to get that apart, there is 2 sets. I'll show you over here. There's 2 set screws on the pulley, one there and then one there. And then there's also our center bolt that takes that is up into the shaft, and you got to take that out right there. So, and then also you have to get your belt off. This is your belt tensioner here. You just move this over to this way, and then that will take tension off your belt, and then I can pull it off of my pulleys there. There's that idler pulley there that has the tension on the belt. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to use the same belt. It is kind of full of oil. I don't know if it'll clean up at all, or you know, if the oil will kind of dissipate out of it. I'm gonna try and clean it up the best I can. You know, I've already got to buy the rebuild kit, possibly a new pump, and you know, that's quite a bit of money. So I'm hoping I can reuse that same belt. If not, they're not that hard to take off and put back on. So there's just a lot of stuff you got to go through as far as getting the belt out of the backside around the clutch there. So right now I got to grab some wrenches, get some gloves on because everything's covered in hydraulic oil, and start taking the bottom side apart, and then I'll take the top side apart. Before I take the belt off the pulley, I'm going to use that as some leverage to get this bolt out of the center here, if I can. That way it keeps tension on that pulley, and I'm able to pull this out of there and not have it free spin. And then you just take a crescent wrench, because these are a square head, and loosen these up. These are just set screws on the shaft of the pump. Well, that all came off and apart easier than I expected it to. I've got just almost 1,000 hours on my mower, and I was expecting it to come apart just a little bit harder than that, but pretty happy on how it came together. Now we just got to turn our attention to the top. Just squeeze those over, or squeeze those and move them over on both of these. Each hose has 2 clamps on it, so there must not be just too much pressure on these lines for it to only have these style clamps on it. So after my phone rang, I forgot to turn the camera back on. So I do have the pump out. There's your 2 pressurized lines that goes to your wheel motor, and then there's your 2 lines that comes from your supply tank. One being return, one being feed. And then this is the pump out of the mower. So, I mean, upon visual inspection, everything kind of looks good. I don't see any cracks, so I'm hoping it's just a seal. There looks like there is a snap ring right here. You pull that out, and then somehow that seal comes out. So I'm not 100% certain on how these come apart. There is a cap on that side too, so I don't know if you need to take that off of there somehow, you know, and to pull it apart that way. So I really don't know. So this is the part where I am blind. So I mean, sure I can tear it apart, but putting it back together is a different story. So I'm gonna go down and talk to the guy at my mower shop. It's just a one-man operation. He does everything himself. He does have some summer help that comes in, but they are going back to school. So, you know, now he's going to be on his own. So he is the man and the only man. So he does a really good job keeping up. He does a really good job helping me out. I'm very loyal to that shop, and you know, I take care of him when, you know, he takes care, just because he takes such good care of me. So I need to go down and talk to him and see what I need to get in. I don't know if I'm going to be getting the parts in today. I may have to order them, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just got back from running my errands. I did run to the mower shop and then came back and grabbed some lunch and then grabbed my favorite beverage. I was drinking the Energies. Well, this is still the Energy, I'm sorry, the Rehabs, but I found these. These are Ultra. This is the Ultra Red, and then probably my favorite flavor being the Ultra Black. That is very good. What I like about those a lot better is they're carbonated, which I like carbonated stuff like that. Really not a pop drinker, but as far as that, love it. 0 sugars, 0 calories, so love them, they're good. Sorry, really good with some Crown in it too. What he told me, and I agreed, and what I thought also, it looks like just this shaft seal is bad. So I mean, there's no play in the shaft at all, side to side, up and down. So basically the only thing I have to do is I have my snap ring pliers here, is pull this snap ring out. Kind of just like so. And then take a screwdriver or something like that and just go in here right beside the shaft and pry this up and out of place, which probably can't do one-handed because it keeps walking on me. Like I said, I couldn't do it one-handed, so I had to set the camera down and just take a screwdriver and pry that out of there. And wrong. Well, bearing came apart. That's what caused my seal failure, which is fine. Didn't know that until I got it apart. I just got to go back over there or have him order it. You can see right there that bearing came apart inside there on the shaft, and we don't want none of them chunks to fall down inside there. But yeah, I'm going to grab a magnet and pull that out of there, and then we'll cover this back up and wait for parts to come in. But you can see there's chunks right there. That bearing came apart. Oh well. Such is life. That is, I did price that shaft. This bearing is pressed on this shaft, and you got to buy this all in one unit. I probably it's going to be a good idea to go ahead and take that apart 100% to rebuild this pump, and just because of these shavings right here, I don't know if there's anything down inside there, and you don't want those contaminants in there, so it's just best to go ahead and pull everything apart and do it that way. I grabbed my magnet and got all that stuff out of there that I had laying up on that edge. As I pulled this shaft out, that I moved that stuff over to the edge so it didn't fall down inside the pump. But I still believe the best thing is going to be to go ahead and tear the pump completely down to make sure there's no other shavings, because this bearing, there's a captured race inside there, and that's what all those pieces are. And it holds all them little ball bearings, you know, separated apart in uniform around your outer race and your inner race. That's, I don't know what it's called, but this is your outer race right here. This is your inner race that's pressed on the shaft itself. And then you have that, basically it's a separator in there that keeps all those little ball bearings in place. Now, I guess if I wanted to do it, you know, you could put it together, I guess, like this. I mean, they still are in there, and it still is holding together. But if all those bearings move to one side, like that, it will allow this outer collar to rock back and forth, and you're just going to have failure again. So there's really no sense of putting it back together like that. It's just going to be tearing excuse me, monster. It's just going to be tearing the pump down, replacing everything that needs to be replaced inside, get the shaft, the bearing on it, and go from there. So I guess I'm done for the day, because he doesn't have that in stock. He has to order it for me, so such is life, I guess. So anyway, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you later on. Bye-bye.